Hello and good morning. Let's take a look here. We're dealing in week 2. So on your paper, it should be in the back. And you should have week 2 real big. Make sure you put a name, date, and period. And Friday's work, which is 827, goes right here. Okay, and it's on the back side of your bell work. Okay, let me make that just a little bit darker. Okay, so at this point, what we're doing here is getting ready, actually. Next week is a test, so make sure you know that. So test next week. I'm not sure what day. Okay, so here I want distance and midpoint, so look up here. To do the distance formula, and it's on the board, but again, I want you to memorize it, and I want you to write it down exactly like this first, okay? So you don't put both of these here, you put only the front one, which is your x. So I'm going to put -3 minus 7 and then circle this one. By now, everybody should get these right. So this is going to be minus a -8, so that's going to be a double negative, so that becomes a plus. So you get a -10 squared. This right here gives you 4 squared because you have more positives. 10 times 10 is 100, and a negative times a negative is a positive. Make sure you know that. It's not 10 times 2, it's 10 times 10. This is 4 times 4, so that's 16. And so the square root of 116 is what you get. Make sure if you have a calculator you show me today to avoid demerits. Let's take a look here. So 116 shifts square root, I get 10.8 approximately. And that's what I'm going to go with. All right, let's keep moving. The next one is midpoint. To get midpoint, you want to go ahead and add up your x's. So it's the front ones here. So when you add that up, 7 minus 3, that's going to be 4 divided by 2. And then this one, when you add these up, you get -12 divided by 2. So I end up with 2, 4 divided by 2, excuse me, and a -6. If it's one negative, it's going to be a negative. And that's your midpoint. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. This one says draw A, B, and C collinear. Collinear means in a straight line. Remember mama duck and baby duck? But I want C in the middle. So look here. A, C, and then B. And then right here it says AC, from here to here is 2x plus 4, and then CB is x plus 6, and the whole thing, A to B, is 31. So we're going to use something called segment. We're adding segment, so it's called segment addition. Make sure you know that. So we're going to add up this plus this to get the whole thing. So the whole thing is 31. 2x plus x is 3x. And then this plus this is 10. And when you subtract 10, you get 21. And then when you divide by 3, you get x equals 7. So now that we know that, that's one of the ones I wanted. See how it says find x? X is 7. But find AC. AC is from here to here. So you got to substitute the 7 back in here. So 2 times 7 is 14, plus 4, that makes 18. So from here to here is 18, and the whole thing is 31, so you could subtract these and get this one, even though I'm not looking for it. But you could just go ahead and put it in here. 7 plus 6 is 13. So this piece is 13. We didn't want that one. 13 and 18 makes 31. And that's how you do that. That's on your test. That's called segment addition postulate. Let me go ahead and minimize this a little bit because I need some more work room. All right. So put away your bell work on a new sheet of paper. Get your worksheet out from yesterday. If you were absent, go look in that folder. I think it's a green folder over there by the mirror. All right, so look up here. This is what we did yesterday, and I'm going to use a new sheet as well. So look up here. First thing I want you to do is to graph these points. So right now, let's graph these points. So -2 up 1. So that's point A. Point B is over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So point B is there. And then draw a segment here. Now, let me think about this. The ratio is 3 to 6, so we're going to add that up. 3 plus 6 makes 9. So you're going to use the first number in the 9. So it's 3 over 9. Okay, so 3/9. And that reduces. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into this 3 times, so you get 1/3. Okay, so in other words, if you look at the direction here, and let's make a right triangle. Remember, make your right triangle. Let me use a different color here. Now the direction switched on you, okay? It says from B to A. So if you divide this into 3 pieces, like I tried to show you on the fraction yesterday, and 1/3 from B to A should be here. So your answer should be right there. Okay, let's check it out. Now let's count the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one looks like 6 spaces. This one looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Okay? Rise over run. So now that we have our vertical change and our horizontal change, we can go ahead and multiply this. Okay, so we're going to take 1/3 times 6 over 1 and 1/3 times 4 over 1. And when you do that, you're going to get 6 over 3, which equals 2. Now let's talk about that a minute. So if you go this way, 1, 2, and then go up, that would be going from A to B. But we want to go this way, so we want to go 1, 2 this way, and then go up, and then it hits right about where I thought it should hit. Okay? And so you need to know the coordinates of that. So the coordinates look like over 2 and then up so many. So over 2, so this is the answer. Over 2, and then we got to figure out the y. Now let's look at the y. The y here, I didn't finish this up. So I'm going to get 4 over 3. That's my y change. So 3 goes into 4 one time, and then 1 times 3 is 3, subtract, put your remainder. So that's 1 and 1/3. Now this gets a little tricky here, so let me think about this. So you're going to go down 1 and then 1/3 of another one. So you're down 1/3, but if you go up, you got to go up 2/3. Now I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that is right. So it's going to be over 2 and then up 1, 2, 3, and it looks like it's going to be 3 2/3. And that's how you do that. Okay? That's a little tricky, okay? And let me explain that again. You see, you're going down in between this one 1/3. So if you're going up, you must have to go up 2/3, because 1/3 plus 2/3 is equal to 1. All right, so it's real important you understand that. Now, if you can't understand that, I would watch the video again and work it, number one. And number two, at least know where the point is. That way, on the EOC, you can pick it out. All right, so today, we're going to finish worksheet C. Okay, yesterday you had 1 through 5. Make sure you draw the diagram, the right triangle. Make sure you count the change in X. Make sure you count the change in Y, etc., etc. The answers are down here except for the even ones. And let's turn our attention now to MCR. Okay, so if you're in geometry, I mean, you can watch this if you want, certainly, and you might learn something. But this is MCR work, okay? So let's take a look here. In this one right here, you have -3 to the 3rd power. So that's -3 times -3 times -3. Now, a negative times a negative is a positive, and a positive times a negative is a negative. So I know my answer is a negative, plus I know that anyway, because 3 negatives make, if you have 3 negatives, you end up with 1 negative. And that's what I have here. So 3 times 3, let me make this a little bigger. Okay, so 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. So it's going to be a negative 27. This one right here is a negative 3 to the 4th power. If you have 4 negatives, you're going to end up with 2 positives. So it's going to be a positive. And then 3 to the 4th power. Now let me show you something on your calculator. If you have an XY key like this one right here, then you would press 3, you'd press the XY key and raise it to the 4th power, and that gives me 81. On some calculators, you have a little arrow going up. That's the same key. All right, let's keep moving. This one right here, I have 3 negatives. That's odd, so that's going to be a negative. 2 times 3 is 6, and then 6 times 4 is 24. Let's keep moving. This one right here is kind of tricky, so be careful with this one. This one, only the 2 is squared, not the negative. So it's going to be 1 negative, and then 2 squared is 4. But this one, you have the negative squared as well, so that gives you a positive 4. Real tricky here, okay? Here, only the 2 is squared and not that negative. I know that seems weird, but that's the way it is. What does quotient mean? Quotient means when you divide, okay? This one right here, I'm dividing a negative times a negative, that's going to be a positive. I have 2 negatives here, that's going to be a positive. And then I have 2 negatives here. So my final answer is going to be a positive. Now, 16 times 3, I think, is 64. So 16 goes into 16, 1, 16 goes into this 3. So I'm going to end up with 4 over 3. And you can verify that on your calculator. Here's your assignment for today. I want all of these. Make sure you do some good work. Some of you are just writing the answers. I want you to copy the problems and show me some work. And if you have to, check some of your answers in the back and raise your hand if you have any questions. Have a good Friday. Don't forget, you have to turn in 2 things. You have to turn in week 1 work if you didn't already do so or you didn't get credit. And it's going to say week 1, okay? And then you're going to turn in week 2's work, which I'll have on Canvas for you to see as well. All right, but it's on the board. You can take a picture of it. Have a good Friday, and remember, test next week.